Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to V Brown Bag. Today, we are going to build or how to build a BlueSky bot with AWS Lambda and Terraform with Ervin Szilgyi. Ervin, did I say that last name properly?
Yeah, it's the better I've heard so far. It's the best actually I've heard so far.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Cool. Well, Ervin, it's wonderful to meet you. You are an AWS community builder, and the first time that I talked with you was via BlueSky because you posted an article, how to build a BlueSky bot with Lambda and AWS Terraform. And I was like, that is amazing and very relevant and very current because there's a lot of folks out there that are coming over to BlueSky. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? Well, whatever you feel like sharing.
Yes, of course. I'm Ervin. You pronounced my name properly. So yeah, I'm from Romania, but I'm Hungarian, and my last name is Hungarian, and that's why it has all these fancy characters. I mean, the A. Other than that, yeah, I'm a community builder since 21 in the containers area, and
Awesome.
I also post. I mainly post blog and articles about AWS and tech. And other than that, I'm an engineering manager at a services company in Romania, and I do AWS every day, and that's my specialty. And we will talk about that in the upcoming minutes.
Awesome. Well, before we get into it, let's let's do the due diligence. If you are in the live studio audience, please feel free to get in on the conversation. We are listening on YouTube. We're listening on LinkedIn. We're BlueSky. Obviously, we're listening on BlueSky and Threads. So if you have questions as we go through this, please feel free to pop in. And let me move our heads back to here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, hi. Awesome. All right. Well, I'm super excited to get into this. So do we just want to flip over to the slides?
Yes, of course.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so as Chris mentioned, today we will talk about BlueSky. We will talk about serverless AWS Lambda and a little bit of infrastructure. Infrastructure is a code, specifically Terraform, but we will have also a little bit of AI topics, which I know that everybody is bored of, but we will keep it. We won't go in deep into that part, but yeah. So my presentation topic is how to build a BlueSky RSS-like bot with AWS Lambda and Terraform. And moving on, I already presented myself, but just to recap, I'm a community builder. I work at Accenture. I'm also a possessor of AWS certificates. So probably if you heard about me in the community, it was through a blog post about certification or some guidance about certification. Other than that, I'm present on all of these sites you can see on the screen. I'm blogging on dev.to, and also I have my own blog, and I was an active Stack Overflow user until a few years ago. Since then, I kind of stopped, and I'm not as active anymore, but I'm still looking at it, and I'm still trying to answer AWS and Terraform related questions. Okay, so today we will talk about BlueSky specifically. And a little bit of history here. So BlueSky itself is a social media platform alternative to Twitter or Threads, where people can post messages and also multimedia. And it got a lot of traction last year in November when a huge influx of people happened on BlueSky, and mainly a lot of folks from the tech community and the AWS community joined BlueSky. And since there was a lot of activity there, people also started to build stuff on BlueSky. What you have to know about BlueSky is that it is open source. It is hackable. By hackable, I mean not in the security way, so you cannot breach it, but you can build cool stuff around it. And people also started to do that. And I myself, I was also incentivized to do that. I didn't want to do anything crazy. I thought it would be a good idea to build a simple RSS bot. Now, the idea for this bot is not my own. There is a fellow AWS community builder member whose name I cannot really pronounce it, but I would like Chris to switch to my screen sharing, and I will do a small presentation about this. So if you are familiar with Twitter, if you are active in the AWS community, you probably stumbled upon this page, which is built by our fellow colleague Ervin, I think. I'm sorry, Ervin, if I pronounced your name wrong. I'm also bad with names, and yeah. But the thing is that our fellow community builder built this page, and the bot which is powering this page. I think we can switch back to my presentation.
Oh, hold on. There we go.
Okay, thank you. And I considered that it would be a great practice and also a great idea to bring this bot to BlueSky as well, not just on X/Twitter. So what does this bot actually do? It is sharing content posted on dev.to by fellow AWS community members. So there is an organization there. If you are a community builder, you can join and you can post your articles there, and this bot is resharing them on Twitter. Before going into how the bot actually works, a little bit of things, a little bit of context to give you about what is an RSS-like bot. It's not anything official. I mean, I don't want to. I mean, in the context of this talk, an RSS-like bot is a piece of code which runs on a schedule, and it shares content from other places, and also it mentions the author, it builds a card, it backlinks to the original post. And a possible implementation for stuff like this would be to use a stack from AWS, use serverless Lambda, and everything else which you have to use to make this bot happen. Now, you don't necessarily have to use this stack. You can use everything else. You can use any language, essentially, which can do Rust. And for Rust fanatics, there is also a pretty nice BlueSky API out there. And regardless, I use TypeScript because that was the easiest for me. And in terms of infrastructure as a code, again, you don't really have to use Terraform to build this bot, but it will make your life a lot easier in case you want to streamline and to build other bots, not just only one. And it is also good practice to work with infrastructure as a code. Now, choosing AWS is also it helps you with the prices. I mean, you don't really have to. You don't really have to spend a lot of money on this. I mean, a lot of money. Essentially you can build it and you can run these bots for a few cents in case you are not in the free tier. If you are in the free tier, yeah. If you are in the free tier, you can do it essentially for free. These Lambda functions, they are running once in a while, and they post something to BlueSky, and that's it. there is not a lot of activity happening. But depending on how you do that, you may be charged a little bit more. It depends. Okay, so my implementation for the community builder blog post is on this page. Now, in case you want to check it out, there is a QR code over there. You can scan it and you can go to the page. You can see what is posted there, what was the latest articles from fellow builders. And as a side note, the AWS Builder program is now open, and meaning the registration for the program is now open. So if you want to be part of the community, you can go to AWS pages, and you could be joining us. So
nice
yeah,
plug. Jason will be happy for that.
Okay, so that being said, let's get into a little bit of technical stuff here. So what we want to do essentially when we implement this bot is that we want to fetch content from Dev2, which is powered by Forum. It's a blogging service, I suppose. I'm not as familiar with the workings of it, but I am familiar with the API, which Forum provides, and it's a really simple API. So in case you want to retrieve the latest articles in an organization, you send a request and you specify how many of those articles you would want to retrieve. You also send the organization name, and you will get back those articles. I mean, links to those articles, to those blog posts. There is also a pagination thingy there. So in case, I don't know, you retrieved the last 10 articles and you want more, you can go to the next page by incrementing this number, and you can get also the next 10 article. Now, knowing that in case of a bot, what we want to do is to retrieve those articles and post them to BlueSky, but we don't want to double post anything, and also we don't want to miss out any article, because that's just bad. So to solve this, essentially what I've done is that I created the DynamoDB table, and after posting any article, I'm also saving it in the table. And in the first iteration, I get, I don't know, the last 10 articles and post everything. This is the first deployment. And after that, I'm waiting 5 minutes, for example, because my bot is running on a schedule. And I retrieve again the last 10 articles. And hopefully there are new articles which can be posted. And those articles obviously are not in the DynamoDB table. So I do this checking to see if any article is in the DynamoDB table or not. And if it is not there, it will be posted. If it is there, then it will be just ignored. Now, why 10? And why do I fetch only 10 articles? It's just an observation. There is the numbers, I just put it there as trial and error initially. And I seen that that's enough. You don't
I was going
want
to say,
to
do they post more than 10 articles in 10 minutes on the website, or is that
no?
okay?
No, they don't. Usually, most of the time, you get when there is a lot of activity, you get 2 or 3 articles.
Gotcha.
In other cases, you get 0. But in case you would get a huge number of articles, that would also be a problem, because BlueSky might just simply mark your account as a spam, and then that's also a problem. So that's a good thing that there are not a lot of articles posted in a short period of time.
Gotcha. And that takes care of any pagination issues too, that if you run into something like that too.
Yeah. I mean, I did it. The implementation is a bit optimistic, meaning that there will be a lot of posts, and I also try to do pagination, but it is not necessary, because
Gotcha.
you want to reach the second page. So that's enough. That's okay.
Cool.
So on BlueSky, you can post text, obviously, but you can also post this rich content. I think they are called rich text content or something like that in the documentation. What does that mean? Is that in your text you also include things such as tags and links, URLs, and you also can create this card embed, which is the cover image of an article. I mean, usually in case you post something somewhere in your blog, on your blog, you have to, you will set this cover image as well, which is usable for social media. Now, in your BlueSky, when I'm sharing this on BlueSky, I also want to add this in order to make the post pretty. Now, technically, according to the BlueSky documentation for their API, you should be able to build that just by sending text and including the text and the links. Unfortunately, my experience is a little bit different in a sense that not everything is parsed out when I'm just sending text. So the solution for that is to get deeper into the BlueSky API and try to build the post from the scratch. And now how BlueSky API works for post, it's a little bit interesting. Essentially, it's pretty easy, but if you are trying to code it and make a complicated post which has a lot of stuff, then it can be a little bit messy. But regardless, the idea is that you are sending a string of characters, and in case you want to mark certain part of the string, a link, a URL, then you have to essentially count and send this facet object, which where you specify the start of a link and the URL and the end of the URL. So in this case, which is taken straight from the BlueSky documentation, if I want to add a link to these characters to this site, then I'm marking the start, which is 6, and the end of the text, which is 15 is not inclusive, but the next, essentially the position of the next string and next character. Sorry, it's interesting, but it works. And a little bit of caveat here is that you are not essentially counting characters. You are counting bytes in case it happens that you want to add a smile, an emoji there, smiley face or something like that. That would count as 2 bytes, depending on the encoding. But there is a way to decode this text and essentially count the bytes. And if you do that correctly, then you will have this pretty post as I was showing before. Now, also for the card, that also needed to be built from scratch. And how that happens is that first of all, I have to upload the image separately. This should happen before posting the text. And after that, I have to essentially mention a tag or an identifier given back from BlueSky. And when I'm mentioning the image, I also have to specify the URL, the title, and the description, which should be added to the card. And that's it. This is how you build a BlueSky post from the scratch, and this is how you make it pretty. And moving on, I also created the same bot for AWS Heroes posts. It's essentially the same code, but with a little bit of changes for the organization and for certain secrets. Now, if you are thinking about Terraform, because I was mentioning that I'm deploying everything with Terraform, you can think about Terraform modules. So if in the audience there are some certain people who are not that familiar with Terraform, then a module is essentially a library which you can reshare Terraform code inside a module. and you can reference that in many projects. And technically, here as well, I can wrap my whole code inside the Terraform module and reuse it, which is pretty cool and also makes my job pretty easy.
I got a quick question from the audience.
Cool.
Mike is asking, the code already uses the AT-Proto STK, which has constructs for rich text. Why not use that instead of counting characters?
The code is already using AT-Proto SDK. Yeah, good question. I went with counting the characters because I don't know. When I built this, and when I read the documentation, I just found that this solution works for me. If there is a better solution, which the audience is mentioning, then I will try to make this improvement. But regardless, the final answer is that I'm not as familiar with that approach. So I just went with this one. It worked for me, and ultimately I was able to just post with this. But as an improvement, I will note this down, and I will try to do it better.
Your answer was an entirely fair one.
Yeah.
You can say
that is...
it's like that because that's how I did it.
I mean, I don't want to be mean, but
no, I understand.
It's back then when I wrote this, I found that this solution works, and I think it's okay. If it can be made prettier, absolutely, I will do that. And the code is open source, and I also would accept a pull request from anybody.
That's why I responded PR is welcome.
Thank you for the question. So okay, moving on. Let's switch gears a bit, and let's talk about AWS news. And I think that anybody who has anything to do with AWS encountered this kind of news pages. These are these snippets of text which essentially discuss whatever new happened in AWS, a new service was introduced or anything like that. And for this, there is also an RSS page, an RSS feed on the link, which you can see on the screen. It's classic RSS. And there is also a Twitter page, the OG AWS news page, I suppose. I don't relate. I don't remember exactly the name of the Twitter account. But the point which I'm trying to make is that that's also powered by a bot, and that bot is also reading this RSS feed and resharing it on Twitter. Now I wanted to accomplish exactly the same, but on BlueSky. So I created a bot for that, which is AWS newsfeed on BlueSky. The logo is not visible here, but there should be a butterfly logo. Again, it can be checked out if you follow the QR code. Now, the approach in this case, it's exactly as you would imagine with the bots I was talking previously about. But instead of just reaching out to REST API, in this case, I'm parsing an RSS feed. I'm also using the same approach with DynamoDB in order to know what to post. That's it. Now, as a thing to mention, it turns out that news are a pretty interesting topic for community members, meaning that aside from me, other people also build such kind of bots. And one interesting bot to mention, or one important, let's say, bot to mention, is the skid bot, which was built by Corey Quinn. I suppose you or many from the audience also know about this or seen this. It's it's the same thing. Although I mean, additionally, Corey also does summarization using AI, using Claude, I think. And in my case, I just post the new whatever happens to the title of the news, and I backlink to the original article. But that's it. I don't think that I have anything else to say about this. If you care about news, you can check it out. Okay.
Totally.
Next, AWS blocks. Now, that's another topic. We are shifting gears again, and now we will talk about AWS blocks. The thing with AWS blocks is that they like to post a lot. I mean, the folks from AWS, they like to post a lot. They write a lot of good articles, and they have different categories on which they write articles, starting from news, architecture, development, and DevOps, and a lot of other categories technically are used by them. And probably the best place in the internet where you can get an aggregation of all of these categories, all of these blog posts, is the AWS News page, created by and maintained by a fellow hero, Luke. I don't even try to pronounce his second name at this point.
Van Dunkersgoed.
But I suppose everybody knows him.
He's been on the show, so I had to make sure I learned how to pronounce his name right. I probably got it wrong still, though.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Okay, so so he maintains this page, and besides aggregating the blog, he also does, again, summaries, and he also has a section for deprecation. So in case any deprecation happens, there is a section on the page where you can go and you can read about these articles which do talk about deprecations. And inspired by his work, I wanted to bring certain features to BlueSky. So I wanted to create a bot which essentially reshares any blog post from AWS. And I also wanted to create another bot which detects if any blog post is talking about a certain service deprecation. So for that, turns out that the presentation is a little bit covering the title. I mean, the image is covering the title, but nevertheless, we can see the architecture which I've used, and I went with an event-based architecture for these two bots. So the idea here is that I don't want to fetch. I don't want to retrieve the blog post twice. I want to retrieve only once, and I'm doing this on schedule. And for that, I have a Lambda function which does exactly that. And it also uses the DynamoDB business in order to see what was posted and what should be posted. But instead of posting it will just publish the blog, the content. I mean, the certain information from the blog post to an SNS topic from which there are two Lambda functions, one for blogs and one for deprecations, that are essentially reading these events, and they are reposting them. Now, in case of the blogs, essentially for the blog publisher Lambda, I repost everything. It doesn't matter. I mean, I repost everything I get because, again, the filtering of what was and what should be posted is done by the fetcher Lambda. But in case of the deprecations, I have to detect if the blog post is actually about a certain deprecation. And if it is not about, then I just ignore it. If it is, then I post it. And I also give a little summary about what the actual deprecation is about. The AWS blocks bot it's again, it can be accessed if you read the QR code. One funny thing about this, that I was really afraid that this bot will be marked as a scam. I mean, spam, not scam. I'm not scamming everybody. I'm most likely I'm just spamming. And the thing is that this bot is a little bit chatty in the sense of there are a lot of blog posts, and it creates a lot of posts, and I was afraid that it will be marked as a spam because there is a lot of activity, and the posts themselves are pretty similar. So I'm posting essentially in a similar format, the name of the title, name of the author, and also the cover image. So every post is similar to each other, and that might be marked as spam by the BlueSky spam filter. But at this point it works, and you can check it out if you want. Now,
real quick question. Never mind. You might be actually getting into it. In the article, you mentioned that you had an issue getting AI to sense, like basically figure out if it was a deprecation announcement or not. Are you going to talk about that, or is that coming up, or did you want to talk about that now?
Yes, I will talk about that in a few seconds. So
okay, cool. All right, then I'll shut up.
Yeah. Okay. So the question is, how do we detect deprecation? And essentially, that's a summarization problem for AI. Now, you can think that we can avoid that and look for certain keywords, but that doesn't work all the time. In certain cases, AWS is pretty upfront that, okay, certain service is deprecated and you should move to something else. But in other cases, they phrase it like how, I don't know, 3 ways to migrate to certain other services, or how to migrate to another alternative service. So
if they were actually honest about it and said we are deprecating this service, then it wouldn't be hard for it to figure it out.
I mean, I don't want to claim now anything and about their communication, but
it stinks. They're terrible about it. Deprecation announcements. That's why we have to go through all of these hoops to figure out if something's actually being shut down. I've said this to them. They know this.
Yeah. So as I said, their communication it's a little bit tricky sometimes, and for that you would want to rely on AI to detect if anything is deprecated or not. And sometimes even AI struggles with this. Now,
which is ironic.
Which is ironic. Now, answering your question, so the issue what I had is that I was asking AI that, okay, you should detect if any service is deprecated, any AWS service, but I did not list all the AWS services because that would be crazy. And I just give certain examples, but it happened that the AI itself recognized that there is some kind of deprecation, but it was not a service deprecation, not an AWS service deprecation. It was deprecating certain command from AWS CLI API. That was a false positive, and I had to remove that article, and that was an issue, and I will.
S3 is being deprecated. What? Oh, we're screwed.
In the next slide, I will talk about how I try to overcome this issue. But for now, talking about other AI problems and limitations. So when I was building this, but then was the issue with AWS account that essentially the service quotas were reset to 0 for everybody for AI usage. I mean, not for everybody, for certain accounts, and especially for newer accounts. And after that, they increased this this rate limit, the service quota. But even today, I got like 20 requests per minute for certain models, which is not a lot, and you cannot really do a lot of queries in case you have a lot of articles and you have a lot of content you would want to summarize. And aside from that, I wanted to go really cheap. I wanted to use essentially credits which are provided for community builders. I wanted to use AWS credits for AI as well. But the thing is that you can use those credits only for Titan models, and you cannot really use that for cloud. That if you want to use cloud, you can, but you will be charged for those requests. And now the problem with Titan is that it's not as good as cloud, essentially. So they have multiple models for Titan, for Bedrock Titan. One differentiating issue compared to cloud is that the token limit for Titan is small. So as you can see it on the screen, for G1 Express is 4K, which is the smaller Titan model. For G1 Lite, it's 4K, and for G1 Express is 8K tokens. Now, recently they also introduced Premiere, which has 32K tokens. But at the time I was using G1 Express, and this token limit essentially is limiting how long the blog post can be in order to be summarized. So you cannot just send the whole blog post if you have a lengthy post, because it will just error, meaning that you are using too many tokens. And besides that, there is at least I was not able to find the tokenizer which is used by Titan. So it was a little bit hard for me to count the tokens. I just wanted to essentially cut the text and to trim the text, the whole text body, and send only what is necessary. But it was hard to know where to cut because I was not able to precisely compute how many tokens I will send. And besides this, there was another issue which I faced. So whenever you talk about deprecation, you want to do whenever you want to detect the deprecation, you want to do essentially two things. So first of all, you want to know if the blog post is about deprecation or not. So it's a true, false, yes, no answer. And also you would want to know what was deprecated. So you would want to have a small summary which tells you that, okay, this and these services are getting deprecated. Now, in order to do this, I wanted to get a structured output. I mean, by structured output, I wanted to prompt the AI, the LLM, to return JSON for me. So to have a JSON with two fields. Now, this works with Claude, with most of Claude models, but I was never able to make it work with Titan. So Titan just really didn't want to return JSON for me. I was using LangChain, which is a library for building LLMs, and whatever prompt they have to build this structured output from the LLM, it was not working for me. I tried a few things, so I just dropped the idea and I went with another idea. So, I mean, Titan also can return a yes or no answer. That's not that hard. And I prompted in a way that, okay, just return a yes or a no if you think that the article is about deprecation or not. And if it is about deprecation, then I will also send it to another model, to Cloud model, Cloud Hike, I think, because I don't really need a latest and fancier model. And that could also confirm that okay, the article is about deprecation, and certain the services which are deprecated are also sent back to me. So
nice.
I'm also able to overcome the API limitations in a certain way. That I mean, yes, I'm using the Cloud API as well and Titan API as well, but again, I essentially I'm able to get the summarization, and also I'm able to confirm that the blog post is about deprecation. And since I'm using two different models, then the API limits are different. I don't really run into being limited by AWS, and I also reduce cost because in most of the cases, the articles do not talk about deprecation, and for that, Titan is able to figure out that okay, this article is not about deprecation, and my request won't be sent to Claude. So that's how I'm detecting deprecations. And again, here is the page where you can check it out. It doesn't have a lot of posts right now because since I think November, when there was the latest blog post talking about deprecation, there were no other deprecations until then. So yeah, I'm still waiting to find some articles which talk about deprecation, and I did double check that with Lux with AWS News page, which is maintained by Luke, and yeah, he has the same thing essentially.
Well, hopefully this becomes the next killed by Google.
Yeah, I've initially I wanted to name it like killed by AWS, but no, I think it is too obvious, and I
not
don't
and
want
keep
to.
your community builder status.
Yeah. Okay.
That's funny.
So yeah. Moving on. One more thing to talk about. So I don't know if you know this page, community.aws.
I just posted an article to it. I'm very familiar with it.
Okay, so then it's familiar. I did not see your article, but yeah, I was checking what is happening lately there. Now, this community.aws is it's a blogging page which is maintained by AWS, and you can use your skill builder account to write articles over there. And I also wanted to reshare content from there. And yeah, here is also the page for that. But now I don't know about an API provided by community.aws. So I don't know about an official API somewhere. It might be somewhere, but I don't know about it. I just looked at the networking tab when I opened this page, and I figured out that they are using essentially GraphQL, and I just reverse engineer that request, and I put it inside my Lambda function, and that's how I get the latest articles from there. Aside from that, it works similarly as all the other what I was talking about. Yeah, I'm getting the last 10 articles usually, and I post only what is new. So yeah. Now that being said, we kind of reached to the end of my presentation. Now some final thoughts which you can think about, which you can talk about. So do I really recommend building an RSS bot as a beginner project or as a practice project for anybody? And the answer for that is that I do, although you may be discouraged by the fact that BlueSky spam alerting service is a little bit aggressive lately, and you can be marked as a spam account Unfortunately, I ran into that, and one of my accounts was marked as a spam. After I did some debugging, I did a mistake there. I posted a lot of stuff in a very short amount of time, and my account was marked as spam. And I don't know how does BlueSky moderation work in this area, so I don't know when they decide that somebody is spamming you. Now, yes, there are limits documented in their API, in their documentation, but I think that they are way too generous, and you will be marked as spam if you don't even have to get close to those limits. And
Interesting.
ultimately, you might ask that what I'm doing am I spamming BlueSky with all of this content? And you might think that I do, although I would like to think that I'm actually posting content which is usable and which is actually meaningful for other people. But
yeah, I mean, the definition of spam is useless and or harmful content, and this is all good stuff. So I wouldn't qualify this as spam.
Yeah, I thought the same, but who knows? I've seen you know that there is this page called there is this application called ClearSky.app, if I'm not mistaken, and there you can check if somebody's blocked you or you were added to certain lists. And now, for example, the AWS blocks was added to some spam lists, and certain people block that, which is fine. You can do that; it's not an issue. But the thing is that might happen that certain people would not like to have all of this content on BlueSky. But yeah, ultimately, it's up to everybody to decide.
Yeah.
So yeah, that being said, I want to thank all of you for having me. I want to thank for the attention, for all the audience. And in case you want to read, you want to have it in a written format, the things what I talked about, you can find it on my blog, which is ervin.dev. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks, Ervin. A couple of questions.
Sure.
In terms of thoughts about, well, actually, hold on. Mike's question kind of dovetails in with mine. Controls and restrictions on posts every time period instead of all the time. Certain posts get more attention, like posts that happen in the middle of the night. Those usually don't get a lot of traction. Posts for me, like 10 a.m. in the morning, seem to get more traction. Have you thought about adding some features so that it only posts during certain periods of time or only certain amounts, so that you're throttling yourself but still getting the message out?
At this point, I did not add any kind of this feature. What I'm doing is that I'm posting as soon as somebody is posting on the other side, which you might think that it might be harmful. So in case somebody creates a lot of posts, then I will also post a bunch on BlueSky. At this point, I did not implement any filter. I'm trying to essentially repost everything with the same timestamp as the usual poster did, which is allowed on BlueSky, so you can post things in the past technically. But that would be an implementation about that would be an improvement about so that would be an improvement about which I have to think and to implement in a way if I notice that certain people might try to do some various things. Until now, I was trusting that the moderation on the pages and on the from where I do post that won't allow such thing that a lot of people post on the same time. Now, in terms of reachability, I did not even think about this. To be honest, I do not withhold any blog post to just reshare it only when I think that way more people will be able to see it. I don't have any data to know when will be the best period to post, when will be the best opportunity to share something. And on BlueSky, there are a bunch of personalized feeds. So I don't know how I would be able to get better reachability, to be honest.
Okay, well, I can help. I'll chat with you afterwards, and we can have a conversation. I'll give you some ideas.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Cool. Damien, welcome to the show. How are you doing, bud?
I'm good. I showed up late. I arrived with technical issues. So yes. Hi, Ervin. That was a really great presentation.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm really sorry that I did not stop when I noticed that you jumped into the call.
It's okay.
Don't
He showed
be,
up
don't
late.
be.
It's not your fault. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
on Damien.
Yes. I had my my day job that had a slight interference on my schedule. So yeah.
Mikey called it. You're a creeper.
Yes. I did have one quick question. I was actually I sent a message to Chris here on the back end of our show here, and I was just thinking how we might use something like this. So, just to give you like a really brief rundown, we use Lambda to handle some of the automation of posting edited videos to YouTube and to our website and to our RSS feed and stuff. And so I was thinking about for an RSS bot, do you have the ability to have that bot post as you? Like, is there like some sort of an OAuth mechanism that allows that bot to post as myself?
Yes,
okay.
You can.
Okay.
Yeah, essentially, each account has a section where you can register applications, and when you register an application, you get a secret password, technically, which you can use for bots and services to post behalf of you. But even if I don't recommend doing it, but if you share your password and your handle with a service, with your Lambda function, you put your password in a secret, and you give access to that for your Lambda function, and that function can use your password and your handle to post in your name, and that will work also. In the beginning, I did just like that, and it worked. But the recommended way is to register an application.
Yeah. I was just curious because there's some cross posting that we do between BlueSky and like I'll post on vBrownBag on that account, and then I'll repost it for my personal one, right, just for additional reach. And anything that could just make it brainless and automated every time, I think would be great. So I may add that to my list of fun things to think about during the first quarter of this year.
We can do it together, Damien. That'd be super fun.
Yes. Side projects.
Yeah. With the 1,000 other ones too.
Correct.
All right. And any other questions, Damien?
No, that was it.
Awesome. Well, Ervin, thank you so much for coming on. Super appreciate it. I know it's late in the evening for you, so please go enjoy your dinner or whatever you're going to do.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate you coming on. Are you going to be at reInvent this year?
Sorry.
Are you coming to reInvent this year?
I don't know. I would like to come, to be honest. That's one of my goals, to attend reInvent. I don't know at this right now that I would be able to. It's a bit complicated to go from here, from Europe, from Romania to Vegas, but okay. I would like to attend.
Well, if you do make it, please let me know. Love to sit down and have a coffee or a beer with you. That'd be super fun.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Cool. All right. Well, everybody, have a wonderful evening. Ervin, thank you very much, and we will see you all again next week. All right,
Thanks,
bye, team.
Thank you. Bye.